Hi, and welcome to Chess for Life in the time of the coronavirus. Today we are delighted to welcome Ankush Khandelwal to the show. Now, Ankush is a strong chess player. He's rated about 2250. He has played in the England junior squad for a number of years, and he played in the World Junior Championships in Turkey in 2007. But chess isn't Ankush's main game. Ankush has also represented the England team for bridge in the Camrose Trophy. And he's won the Mind Sports Olympiad 3 times. And that's not all. He is also a professional poker player and has been playing poker professionally for 6 years. Ankush, a big welcome to the show.
Hi Natasha, thanks for having me.
Ankush, hi there. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your chess playing and how you got into chess?
Sure. So I learned chess at school when I was around 8 or 9 years old, and I got really captivated by the game and just fell in love with it, and played a lot of junior tournaments throughout the ages of 9 to 18 in the junior squad. And yeah, I just love playing. I practice a lot of tactics, just play online a lot. It was a huge part of my childhood.
And did chess help you get into all the other games you play? I mean, are you sort of a chess player who learned other games, or were you always into lots of other games?
No, definitely chess was the game I played primarily for a while, and then I went to the Mind Sports 1 year just to play chess, and then I came across a lot of other games.
Yeah.
Then I was like, wow, these games are amazing. So I got into the other ones.
Yeah, and you started off quite a lot of online chess as well as over-the-board chess. Has that always been playing online's always been part of your games playing?
Yeah, I love to play Bullet. Well, I used to maybe growing up, I loved to play Bullet. I played for hours every day. I just found it so much fun. And I think it suits my style of play a little more. Just like you get sort of like sharper games, it's like more tactically focused rather than strategic.
Yeah. Do you prefer a kind of good tactical game to a slow strategic game ending up in a long technical end game?
Oh, absolutely. But I wouldn't get much joy out of winning the latter, actually, even though I know other players would.
Yeah. Okay. And at what stage did you learn to play bridge?
Bridge was actually another game I learned at school around the age of 13, but all the other games I learned away from school.
Yeah, because the chess scene seems to be a lot bigger for juniors than the bridge scene. I mean, my son plays bridge a lot, and there are other juniors that play, and he does love it, but it doesn't seem to be quite such a big scene as the chess scene where thousands of primary school children play.
Yeah, I think chess has been well integrated into like English schools, and I know that bridge has been in Poland, for instance.
Yeah, they play at school, don't they?
Yes,
yeah.
But it's not happened in England yet. But maybe one day it will.
Yeah. And how did you learn poker?
So poker, I came across maybe through some friends, or maybe at the Mind Sports Olympiad as well. And yeah, I started playing online just for fun. I got very intrigued by the game. And then when I went to university, I met a lot of other guys who were very interested in poker. So it was a nice community there. And I sort of learned how to take it more seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, what drives you to become a poker professional, actually? How did that happen?
So I'd been playing casually for a while online, and I'd made like a reasonable amount of money casually. And then after graduating university, I started a job as a trader in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
Yes, so I didn't think I was going to be a poker pro, but then once I did trading for a while, I realised I didn't really like finance, but I really love games, and I'd had like a decent amount of success as a recreational. I was taking poker semi-seriously, but I thought if I put all my time into it, I would be able to make a pretty good living. So I decided to scrap the trading.
How long were you doing your trading for?
Almost a year in Amsterdam. Yeah.
Oh, so not very long at all, I'd say.
No, but it felt like a long time. It was very intense in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you come to go to?
Trading can feel a bit like gambling or a bit like poker in a way.
Sure. I mean, that's what interests me about a lot of different games, like the elements of probability and like logic, and yeah, you just have to find your way to get it.
Yeah. And do you find you can make a good living from playing poker?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah. Is it quite stable, or because I hear that a poker player's living can be quite variable, or you wouldn't know from year to year how much you were going to earn.
It really depends which game type you specialize in. So if someone's a tournament professional, then you can have a huge amount of variance in the result. But I'm a cash game professional, I play high stakes cash online, and there's a lot more less variations. So I have more. I'm less at the mercy of luck over the course of the year.
Yeah, I see. And do you play how many hours a day would you spend playing poker?
It really depends for me. I like to just sort of play when I really want to play. So there are periods where I'm just obsessed about it and I'll play a lot, and then there are times where I've just sort of had enough and I need a break. So it might average out to maybe like a normal job in terms of hours, but then there's a lot of time you spend away from the tables thinking about poker as well, and studying and like coding.
Yeah. How do you go about studying poker?
Well, there's a lot of tools. So it's like multiple training sites where you can watch videos, or and there's lots of different software that's out as well you can use to analyse the game. And then I like to do a lot of reviewing my hands and then analysing different strategies, talking with friends. So there's a lot you can do.
And how does studying poker compare with studying chess? Because I mean, chess one can do an awful lot of study on that, looking up databases and working out what your specific opponent does, as well as improving your own technique.
Yeah.
Has that helped you with your poker?
To be honest, I was never that studious with chess in that regard. I didn't enjoy that challenge of looking up my opponent's repertoire and finding out the best opening to play, or there's a lot of opening preparation you have to do at high level chess, and I never got into that. I didn't learn how to play sound openings. I'd say that was always a weakness in my chess.
Are you more a gambits player?
Yeah, for sure. Or I play my own.
What's your favourite chess opening?
It's the bird's opening as white.
Yes, very good, very good.
Leningrad Dutch is like.
Oh, very good. Yes, understood. Okay. Yeah, and then that's a kind of. But when you play poker, well, what I've heard, you can correct me about this, but what I've heard with poker, actually, you have to kind of play with the odds and play quite safely, really, and not riskily like the birds or the Leningrad Dutch. Would that be fair?
I'm not sure if you can draw an exact comparison. Yeah, sure. You have to play. There are certain situations where there's only some reasonable strategies you can't deviate from, but there are other parts in poker where you can have your own style if you like.
Yeah, and would you say, because I know you're a tactical chess player, are you quite an aggressive poker player, or how would you categorise your poker style?
I'd say I'm on the medium side of aggression.
Medium. Yeah, very good. And do you spend most of your time now playing poker, or do you still have time to play lots of other games?
I probably should spend more time playing poker, but I just love playing games so much. I spend probably half of my time on poker and half on whichever game takes my fancy.
Yeah, and what are your favourite other games at the moment?
I love Agricola. That's one of my favourite board games.
I tried Agricola, but you have to know a lot of things for Agricola, don't you?
It's true. That's
what all the cards do.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same objection in the beginning. I don't like games with lots of rules. I didn't play Agricola for a reasonable amount of time just because I can't be bothered to learn all the cards. But once you pay that investment, I find it to be it's a really excellent game with a lot of replayability.
Yeah.
I really like to play Settlers of Catan. Recently, I'm getting into that.
Do you play that online?
Yes. Only recently. I used to play maybe a long time ago. Settlers, and I kind of go through phases with different games.
Because you watched it as well, didn't you, Matthew? A podcast by Lumen Sperling on how to play Settlers of Catan, which was quite good, but it had very, very few views, so I thought I would have the edge on any player by having, because Lumen Sperling's the, isn't he a US champion?
He's the US Gritware champion, and he's also a very strong Settlers player, so I need to check that podcast out.
You've got to check it out, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it as well, but I didn't quite. I'm not a very poor Settlers player, so it was. I didn't really get much out of it, but it was pretty entertaining. I have to say that podcast. It's. I mean, how much time do you spend? I mean, every year there's the Mind Sports Olympiad, of course, and you've won this 3 times. Just for the viewers, it's a huge games competition, and there's people vying for the Pentamind Championship, which is the 5 best results basically, and that count towards the final score. And well, I mean, it's a massive achievement to win it once, let alone 3 times. But I mean, when does your preparation for that start?
Past winners include people like Demis Hassabis,
Indeed,
the brains behind DeepMind and AlphaZero, which is a book that we've written a book, Game Changer, about AlphaZero, and so Demis has also been a past Pentamind. I'm right, aren't I? Past Pentamind champion several times, I think.
He's won it 5 times.
5 times, yeah.
Probably like the best game of all time, in my opinion, and other people's opinion as well.
But when does your preparation start?
Maybe like once the schedule's released, I'll definitely have a look and have an idea of which events I want to play, because you can't play all of the events because some of them clash.
Yeah. So you would prep for certain events and
right. So year on year, I'd say my goal is to be competitive in every single event I play, and it's not easy to do that at the start. So I just try and sort of learn new games and try and become competent at them. And I've done that over the years.
And so how do you fancy your chance? Are you playing this year? And how?
Yeah, for sure. This year is going to be online, so
yes,
it's going to be quite different. We're going to have a worldwide field, if you like. We're going to have some.
It's going to be tougher this year, I guess.
Yeah. So, because there's going to be specialists who play games online, and they won't always come to Mind Sports. Maybe live somewhere else, like in America.
Yeah. So they might play their specialist games.
Right, so it's going to be a very high level of competition this year, so I'm excited. Yeah,
very good. Okay, and we're talking to you now on the 16th of June. The UK has been badly affected by coronavirus. We've been in lockdown for a while. We're now gradually coming out of lockdown. How have you found the last few months, Ankush?
So for me, it's not been, I can't really complain, it's not been that bad for me. Sure, there's a lot of things I'd have liked to do that I can no longer do, which is the same for everyone, but I play a decent amount of sport, but I've been injured actually. I'm just recovering from an injury. So it's kind of like good timing almost.
Yeah. Because you would do your poker mainly from home rather than in casinos, for example.
Yes, I do. I specialise in online cash. I just don't play in casinos. I've not played in probably like 4 years in a casino.
Okay, and so have you been finding, because in chess more people have been playing online than usual. Have you been finding actually that there's been more people playing poker?
Yes, I think liquidity has gone up. But not necessarily in the games that I play. Maybe it's somewhat similar still.
Yes. So actually, you haven't seen too much noticeable change.
No, for me in the games that I play, it's dependent on like a certain few players. So it's not to do with the masters thing.
Yeah.
And I know lots of people have been playing a lot of bridge during lockdown as well. Have you had a chance to play any bridge?
I've actually played less bridge than I usually would, but still a decent amount. I play a lot of bridge. I love it. It's one of my favourite games.
Yeah. All right, and so you're in lockdown. You're allowed to take one favourite chess game with you. Which game are you going to take and why?
It's definitely going to be my game against the Grandmaster Tamas Fodor. I think that's something.
Yeah.
And because it was one of the best attacking games I've played.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show. We're now going to look at the game.
Okay, let's have a look at this game. And the game started with a move I rarely make on the board. 1f4.
Fine move, Ankush. Very good.
Have you always played this, Ankush? Has this been your long-time favourite?
I used to play 1e4 a lot, and then my parents would play the Sicilian, and I played the Smith-Morra Gambit for a long time. And then
Excellent. Another fine opening.
But then, my parents, they figured out how to play against it. And I was like, at one point I was like, do I learn the mainline Sicilian? And I was like, I'm just going to do something else. So we're up
Yeah, no, it's...
What tournament was this?
This was the Mind Sports International. I think that only happened once, but it had a variety of different games, and chess was one of them.
Okay, yeah.
And this was a rapid game, was it?
I think this was actually a long play game.
Okay, wow. Okay, fantastic. And black was Tamas Fodor Jr., so a strong Hungarian Grandmaster who's plays a lot in England. Also plays for Cheddleton in the for NTL. Very strong, very theoretical player actually. Good theory and very solid as well. So yeah,
quite a good choice playing the birds against him then.
Well, exactly. Although actually. What he played was quite slightly surprising, actually, because knight c6 castles, and then he played e6. So, we're going to head after you go d3 and e4. We'll get some sort of King's Indian attack sort of thing, really. So, all quite unusual. I mean, most black players play g6, don't they? And bishop g7, and I've seen a few games of yours at the Mind Sports Olympiad with this. So. It's but anyway, d3, bishop e7, knight c3. You love these structures, don't you, Ankush? You're always waiting for d4 and then knight e4 and then takes. This is what I've seen this so many times in your games.
Yeah, I love it. It's a reverse Leningrad Dutch position, that kind of style, and I think technically it's better for the other side. So I'm used to this position with black and white. And technically it's better for white, but I still choose to play it because it gives you great attacking potential.
Yeah, it's a very awkward line. I mean, even if you're, it's one of those lines that even if you're, if the engine is giving you +2 or +3, there's still pawns, a big pawn mass, just rolling towards you. So always a lot of danger. He played, Tamas played this slightly surprising move, Queen b6. King h1, castles, and e4. So I mean, basically, as a Dutch player, you can't be too unhappy getting this one in so early. And here, Tamas played another quite sharp line. Takes, took back with a pawn and rook d8. And here you played a move that surprised me, but it turned out beautifully actually. Knight d2.
Oh. I'd have gone Queen E1, I think, probably.
Yeah, Queen E1.
Probably Queen E1. I thought my opponent might
you probably get hit.
Knight D4.
Yeah, you probably get hit.
Yeah. This could be. Maybe Knight D4 could be quite annoying. Yeah, Knight D2 surprising, but it's got a really cunning idea. And actually, these two knights in the game, they prove to have an awesome amount of potential. So Knight D4. And then g4. No subtlety here. But it's very nice that this knight d2 has prepared g4 because now the g pawn's protected by the queen. That's very, very nice. And here actually Tamas made quite a big mistake, but it's actually it's very, very hard really to spot why that would be. So he actually played this move bishop d7. And yeah, tactically, there's something rather unpleasant that you played, which was to play g5, knight e8, and now this move f5.
Oh, all the pawns coming in.
All the pawns coming down, and well, the great stuff about it is that if bishop g5, you've got this move, this discovered attack knight c4. So discovering the attack on the bishop. So and so, you know, that's one bad point of the queen being here, and the other bad point of the queen being on b6 is that if e takes d5, then knight d5 is horrific as well for black, because of well, I mean, something like, for example, queen e6, ef, knight f5, and rook takes f5, and queen f5. There's knight e7. So yeah, basically, black, instead of going bishop d7, I think black should have moved the queen out, just get out of this tactic, and then it's harder to play g5 and f5 quickly. But we're already feeling quite confident.
It's good for white already.
This is huge for white already. I mean, actually the engines were already sort of not slipping into something more comfortable, but you know, they were sort of very, very happy with this position. I mean, did Tamas look a bit shocked when you played f5? Ankush?
I can't remember now, actually, but yeah, I was happy with my position, that's for sure.
It's so he went queen a6, which is just getting out of any of these threats, knight d5, knight c4. It's a pretty good move, and now we get f6. No hesitation there. So and this is yeah, this is already quite awkward for black. Yeah, black took on f6 here, which maybe, I don't know. I mean, you'd really want to, I think, play a move either like bishop f8 or bishop d6. But there are quite awkward things about it. I mean, if we take, we'll go queen h5, attacking f7, and if knight d6, we go rook f4, and we're going to attack with rook h4 and queen h7. So I mean, there's just it's very hard for black to.
Scary.
It's scary. I mean, you know, black's, whatever happens, black's going to have to simply well, roll with the punches and try and survive, which is quite astonishing when you're talking about 15 moves into the birds. You know, I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, from an open Sicilian, fine, but you know, playing in the birds. But he went g takes f6, g takes f6. Bishop takes f6. What one typical thing to point out, I think, is if knight takes f6, these moves, e5 is always a really strong move. So I guess Tamas wanted to try and avoid that with bishop f6. And how long did you take to play rook takes f6, Ankush? That's what I want to know.
I think the idea like changed me instantly, but you know, I was just making sure there was good continuation. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. Of course, the engines start bringing out all the defences. It might have been that that queen h5 was even stronger first, just because it's so awkward to defend f7. You know, with the knights covering the bishop, and the bishop can't move because the queen takes f7, or if it moves, then queen f7 is very strong. But rook f6 is.
Black goes e5 there. Does white go knight d5?
Knight d5. Oops, knight d5. Yeah, indeed. Sorry. Queen h5, e5. We go knight d5 here, and I mean we go knight b3 afterwards, and just we've got rook g1 coming in as well. It should be very, very strong indeed. But rook f6 is a great move, and e5 of course is totally thematic, and here apparently this was the big crucial moment, because I do have to tell you that pretty much after the next move that black played, you played it well. I mean, every move you played was super strong. So this was really black's only chance to survive, and it's an interesting one actually, because black might have played bishop c6 here. Funnily enough, e takes f6, takes, and king h8. And despite the fact that you've got two pieces for the rook, which is great, black's actually getting some sort of counterplay with rook g8 and, you know, queen c6 and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was kind of I ran some engine matches in this, and they were coming out around about equal, you know, in terms of results. But after knight d5, then they were really. I think we jumped to +6 with the engines. They were, and I think I got something like like 12 wins out of 12 with white now. So this was really strong. Knight e4, great move. Well, I do have to say, I find it slightly surprising that it goes badly so quickly. But obviously these dark squares are just so horrific for black. So was Tamas sweating a bit here, Ankush? Was he?
Yeah, I think he looked quite nervous. This was actually the final round of the tournament as well, and
oh, right.
I think he was half a point clear of the field. So
this was for first place.
Right, but it wasn't. It was quite a small field, so I wasn't in contention first. Actually, I think what happened was Keith Arkle ended up winning it.
Okay.
And yeah, he said he owed me a drink after this.
Okay, and have you got your drink?
No, not yet.
You're reminding him then.
Keith, if you're watching. Yeah, this is a really huge attack, and it's just sort of this I don't know, like some umbrella unfolding really, because the knight comes to e4, and then this bishop can come out to g5 or h6, queen can come to h5, and all of black's pieces are just really badly placed to defend any dark squares, and this queen in particular is really out of the way. So black played king h8. And you went knight g5. Yeah, this is the only. I think bishop g5 was probably also quite strong. Just threatening knight takes d5 and bishop f6 check. But knight g5 is really strong as well. I mean, you're targeting h7, and of course you're also covering f6 as well. So that's a pretty unpleasant thing for black to have to defend against. So played f6, knight f7 check. King h8, and then a nice little repetition here, knight h6 check. What were you going to do actually if black had, black went king f8 in this position, but if black had gone king h8, what were you planning, Ankush?
I don't think I'd figure that out actually. Like in these kinds of positions, I like to just flick in the repetition just to see if they're going to blink or
yeah,
kind of give them a chance to
go wrong. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. A good technique, actually.
Do you think black was still playing for the win at this point?
Not sure.
Yeah, I think he was. Thing is, king h8. The problem with king h8, I suppose, is that king h8 is that you could always imagine black playing knight f7 white playing knight f7 takes d8 even, and then taking something and white's still better. So I think with king f8, you're sort of saying, well, I'm going to up the stakes. I might be getting completely mated, but I'm material up. So white's got to white's really got to to prove something. I was actually, to be honest, it wasn't at all obvious to me how to finish this off with white. Anything better than knight takes d8, but my engines came up with something astonishing, really, which was it was bishop h6.
Wow.
King f7, queen h5, king e7. Well, I mean, your final attack, we're going to see it, was phenomenal as well. But this was also pretty nice. E takes f6 check. And well, I mean, there's a few lines that are obvious. I mean, queen f6, we've got bishop g5, so that's fair enough. I mean, if you come king f6, well, I can imagine that if you're coming back towards the the queen, that's very, very dangerous. There were two lines that the engine liked very much. One was rook e1, cutting the king off and threatening queen g5 check. And I think that bishop g5 was also very strong. Yeah, this because rook takes d8 is met by queen g5 check. So this was very strong. But the gorgeous line was king d6, if we try and escape like that. And then we go bishop f4 check, takes, queen d5, king b6, and now this great move b4. And so it undermines this pawn on c5. And the gorgeous thing is as well, you're threatening b takes c5, and then you've got rook b1 check coming in with so then you're activating all your pieces against the the black king. It's just complete carnage basically. So actually that was probably the very best. But I mean, even if you're just going to play something as simple as taking on d8, you're still quite a bit better anyway. So but he blinked. He played king f8, and queen g4 came in. Now this is really, really powerful. Actually, it's astonishing really that black can avoid getting mated here, because he's just got no defensive pieces whatsoever. It's really incredible. So knight e7, and this was a really nice move, Ankush. Queen h4. How quickly did you spot that one quickly, or?
Yeah, I saw. I think I saw that if I could attack the f6 square without the knight being able to block it, it'd be quite strong, and that's just what came to mind.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. That one. It really makes sense of all your pieces. So bishop c6 check, queen check, bishop g5. Again, you're if you were doing this online, you would have been tested for for computer assistance, because these are all the engine's best moves. Absolutely great. Bishop g2, king g2. Actually, one of the engine matches I played in this line was following your game for ages. It's yeah, really great attack. Takes, and yeah, and this was I was really impressed with how you played it from here, because I mean, you've got your attack, and you've got some material, and the black king's still weak, but there's no finish, there's no mate or anything. And what you did just to consolidate, first of all, and then start the attack up again, I thought was really cool there. So queen h7, rook d7, queen e4 check, king c7. I think this is where the computer game deviated from you now. And because you played knight g4 here, which was a pretty good move, bring that knight into f6. I think the engine was playing rook f1 here, followed by rook f2, and then consolidating, in that way, which, is also, I don't think there's much difference between the two. So knight g4, that's a lovely move, knight f6. It stops a rook coming to g8 as well. So even though your king's a bit open, your king's sort of safe still. But it must have been a little bit nerve-wracking, this, mustn't it, Ankush? Because it looks kind of like black's getting some counterplay in some way.
Definitely. Just a couple of moves ago, I thought I was going to sort of finish him off, and now that's like I've got to fight again for the win.
Yeah.
I didn't want to waste the position, so
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he goes queen c6 and king g1, and you sort of, you're peering and thinking, is there some way for black to come in? But actually, what you've done with this knight on f6 is just fantastic. I mean, it's just really just controlling this rook on a8, and it just gives you, well, all the time in the world to start, getting the rest of your pieces in the game. So it's quite, just when I was looking at it, I was thinking, just sort of wondering a little bit. But this was a great finish. This was a really great sequence. I really love this one. Queen h5, rook b2, knight d4. Was he in time trouble now, actually, or Ankush, or were you in time trouble?
I think he was short on time, from what I remember.
Because somehow I always see you blitzing somehow. That's whenever I see you play, that's always my image of you. So knight d4, rook f1, rook b2, and now some really great moves. How long did you take to come up with these, Ankush? Because they were really great.
Usually, like the tactics, these kind of moves, they sort of appear to me, and then I'm just trying to follow through to the end of the variation to see if it makes any sense, or if it's just not a good sacrifice. So
okay.
I would have probably seen it instantly, but I don't know how long it's taken to work out.
Yeah.
That it's line to play.
Because this one's a stunner actually. Knight fd5. So takes on d5, and then rook f6. Just sort of. I think really accurate. That's somehow if where can the queen move to? If the queen moves too far away, then knight takes d5 check is happening. So he played rook c2, and I was very impressed with the way you finish this off, because it can always get messy when people are short of time, and if you take on c6 too early, then black gets a few pawns around his king. But this was a very nice finish. Queen h7 takes, knight d5 check. The king ran again. Takes, Bishop d8 check for the crowd. Also stops that rook getting active at all. Rook a5, we just got queen a7 check. Sorry, rook d8, we've got queen a7 check there, which wins the whole house. And he played king a4 and queen b7, and he resigned because this rook on a8 is going, and if we go here, we've got, at the very least, we've got the same variations as before. Actually, we've even got queen a6 checkmate, which would also be pretty good.
Even stronger.
Even stronger. Even stronger. I mean, it's a really great game, Ankush. Really, and that attack came from nowhere. I mean, I love this. I've never seen, quite unusual tactics. Really, I could imagine missing this with black. That you can play f5 because of all of these discovered attacks with a knight on the queen. Really, that was really well spotted. And then, I mean, the rest of the attack was really very nice. And I mean, even if rook f6 isn't the very best move, it's the one I think most human attackers would play basically. And this was I mean, it was a really nice game. And that finish with knight what was it, knight fd5. A really nice finish there. Knight fd5. Look at that one. Brilliant, Ankush. Well, thanks very much for showing us that. I mean, it's lovely. It's great because everyone's got a great game that they've played, and often they don't make it into databases or anything like that, so you just never see it. So really lovely to see this one. I've never seen it before, and finally I can believe that the birds could be a decent opening. So
it needs to go in the next Birds Trends book.
Okay, thanks very much, Ankush.
Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate the analysis as well. It's nice to look over it.
Great, thanks.